There's a place you gotta be, where movies, shows, and games light up your fantasy. Slabs behind the mic, he's got a vibe so
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another show of Slav's Free Talk Podcast, where we're going to sit and talk about all pop culture and such. I don't know. Today is going to be a huge show. I can't talk. Honestly, a lot to cover. A lot to cover. We got the disgrace that is Captain America, Brave New World. Superman obviously can't be a comedy. Like, you're not allowed to have any humor in a Superman movie at all, obviously. Amazon has taken creative control of James Bond 007. When are we going to get a look at Lobo? We get a new look at Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor. Sergeant Rock movie shakeup. Was there really a shakeup at all? And a whole plethora of DC Chapter 1 news. So let's get into it, guys. This is a big show tonight. Like I said, so let's get the house cleaning out of the way right away. Let's get this done and out of the way. I know there's a bunch of you here. I know there's a lot that you guys want to talk about. So let's just get through all this as quick as possible because, guys, I know there's a lot to talk about. I know. Let's see. We got Matthew in here. What's going on? Superhero Cuts has stopped in. He goes, if you're talking about Pattinson Batman, please let me come on, bro. We're not going to talk. I mean, I'm going to mention it very briefly later on, but I'm not going to dive deep into it. But hey, if you're free Wednesday night for the Watchtower, more power to you if you want to come on then. We got Hope for Life in here. We got Matthew. I said that. Tito's in here. So a bunch of people are in here. Love to see it. Love to see it. But as I always say, join the Discord, guys. If you haven't joined the Discord yet, join the Discord. Really trying to build up a community of great DC-minded fans, as well as other things. I mean, we got MCU to talk about. We got Star Wars to talk about, as well as all pop culture, all movies, things like that over there. So join the Discord. The link is in the description. Also, if you're not aware, I do have a website, slavsfreetalk.com. You can go there. I am also looking for some help if you're interested in dabbling in writing articles or anything like that. Hit me up. My email, everything is at the website, slavsfreetalk.com. You can hit the contact button at the top, or there's a little article here you can follow there for contributors wanted. Go there to follow that, as well as there's a store. There's a little click there for a store. You can head over to our Slavs Free Talk shop, and there you'll find some merchandise, stickers, shirts for Slavs Free Talk Podcast, the Watchtower, as well as a limited edition Slavs Free Talk t-shirt and sticker, and excitement and anticipation for Superman coming out, as well as a few additional things in here as well. So you can check that all out at slavsfreetalk.com. All right, guys, let's move on to the first topic that I'm going to talk about is Captain America Brave New World. Now, we talked about this last week. I went and saw it. I did a review on it. And, you know, as much as I didn't hate the movie, I didn't hate the film, I thought that it was going to do relatively well. I thought that it was lining up to make, I'm not going to say relatively well, but I thought it was lining up to make around $500 million, like around $450 to $500 million. Well, that's looking like it's going to be a rough road for it because this past weekend, it had a 68% drop. 68% drop. That is terrible. That is, I think, the third or fourth worst drop in MCU history. I think Thor the Dark World had a bigger drop, and maybe it was the Marvels. I don't know. This is absolutely insane that it dropped this much. Again, I hold to the fact that, is the movie a great movie? No. Is it the worst of the MCU? Not by a long shot. It has its issues, but it's enjoyable to sit there and get through it. So, again, I can't believe that it did that poorly its second week, especially when there was no competition around it at all. At all. Now, right now, sitting worldwide, it's at $289 million. It dropped 68%. 400 million is within its grasp. It really is. If they said that they spent $180 million on this movie, which we know is pretty much a lie, that means it probably needs to make around 430, 450 roughly to break even. Will it make it? I don't know. I mean, you figure if it would probably need to make it would not make it would probably need to stay in theaters another month and a half to 2 months to even have a possibility of doing that. And I don't see it being able to succeed staying in theaters that long. Having a big weekend after big weekend with a 68% drop. Like if it would have dropped, say 55, 60% this past week, I would have said, okay, it has a shot, because if it would have just dropped 55 to 60%, you would have been looking at a 300 million plus total right now. And that would have been like, okay, so you're looking at 150, 120 million dollars that it has to make. But you're looking at 100 and almost 200 million, 100 and what is it, 180 million, 170 million dollar take that it needs to get. That's rough. That is rough. But what does this mean for Marvel? Because we're looking at it now as, granted, you had Deadpool and Wolverine that came out last year, was a massive success for it, obviously. Prior to that, the only other success that was a big success for Marvel in the last few years was James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. The Marvels was a disaster. Even going back as far as Eternals was a disaster. Shang-Chi, which was really good, was decent. It did well, but it wasn't a huge, massive billion-dollar hit. You can then look at what we have coming up. And Thunderbolts, while people, they're looking okay. It's looking okay. But is it going to be that big hit that they need? I don't know. Now, look on the lower side of things. When you take a look at the television side, their TV shows have not been massive hits. You have Echo, which was horrible. Agatha did okay. I mean, it wasn't great. It didn't do anything fantastic. The ratings got better week to week, but it wasn't great. What else was there? She-Hulk did terribly. You take a look, Marvel is on such a bad run of films and TV shows. But you have Daredevil coming out in a week. Again, things looking up in a way in that regard. If Daredevil is good, if it's as good as the Netflix series or close to it, does that shake off the rust from Captain America? But if Thunderbolts is not good, if it's just meh, is that confidence lost, and does it hurt Fantastic Four? Let's not forget that Ironheart comes out in June before Fantastic Four. So you have that to worry about. There's a lot of things that with Marvel, it's just not, it's not looking good. But there's a lot of things that you can sit there and say, okay, Guardians was great. Deadpool and Wolverine did really good. Fantastic Four is looking like it could be good. Daredevil looks like it could be good. But there's something missing. Now, a lot of people will sit there and say, well, it's because of the Bob Chapek era. Bob Chapek, when he took over for Bob Iger, he made so many changes, took a lot of the power out of Kevin Feige's hands, made him do things that he didn't want to do. But now we're getting out of that Bob Chapek stuff because all these projects that were in progress or in process while Bob Chapek was in are finally done and coming out or are already out, with the exception of Ironheart. That'll be the last one. Everything else will be part of the Bob Iger. When Bob Iger came back, could that be a big factor? Will Marvel get back on track because of that? Maybe. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, because I think if Bob Chapek was a big problem with how Marvel was running for those few years and all those terrible projects, we would need to start seeing it with Thunderbolts, with Fantastic Four, with Doomsday when that comes out, with Daredevil, with Wonder Man when that comes out later this year. With these projects that are coming out, we need to start seeing that shift, because if we don't, that's where the problem's going to be. We're going to see that maybe Kevin Feige just doesn't have it. We saw Rob Liefeld on Twitter the other day just say, "Take him out. You need to take him out. He's done. He's cooked. He's out." Bo DeMayo's freaking out about it, and now Bo DeMayo has other reasons to be upset about Marvel and Kevin Feige and everything over there. But there is some animosity going towards Marvel right now and how things are being handled. So it's really interesting. It is really interesting. But I want to know what you guys think, because I honestly think if Deadpool and Wolverine did not come out last year, if it did and it bombed and it wasn't good, we would be having a very different conversation right now with how bad Captain America did, and sitting here saying, I think it's time for Kevin Feige to go. But I think because you had the highest grossing R-rated film of all time in Deadpool and Wolverine, not even a year ago, in the MCU, you're sitting here saying, okay, I think we got to give him a couple more movies and let's see what happens. So I think we'll see what happens. I just, I want Marvel to succeed just because I want DC to succeed, and I think competition is good. I also really enjoyed the early Marvel stuff, and I want to get back to enjoying Marvel again. That's all. Like that's where I'm at. But let me know your thoughts. I want to hear what you have to say in the comments below. Otito said, "Did you finish Agatha? Many say that was solid. Their words, most definitely not mine." I did finish Agatha. I had a lot of issues with it. It wasn't horrible. A lot of things that I didn't really like about it, but it wasn't as terrible as some were saying, but it also wasn't as good as some were saying. So I did finish it. What else are you saying, Otito? You also was win-win for me. Cap 4 sucks. Music to my ears as a DC fan. If Cap 4 is good, one of the writers will look like crazy for the Deathstroke. Now, see what you're saying. Trayvon says, Bob Chapek had such a short leash at Disney. Even Tom Freston had a longer one and only lasted 8 months as Viacom CEO back in 2006. Yeah, Chapek really screwed up there. I mean, you're given the reins of Disney after Bob Iger. I mean, that's crazy if you think about it. Trayvon says, ask MCU stands, they'll say crap like Agatha and She-Hulk were good. It's true. Hope for life. For me, No Way Home was great, not just because the characters, but the story was being told. That's the reason movies are made, and that's why I like to go to movies like this for the story. Matthew Gaudette says Deadpool and Wolverine, No Way Home were good in my honest opinion. Yeah, I mean, over the last 6 years, there was a handful of good films. There were a handful. I mean, I look at it as since Endgame, you had No Way Home that did really well, and I enjoyed. Shang-Chi, I think Shang-Chi, in my opinion, Shang-Chi is the best film since Endgame, in my opinion. Deadpool and Wolverine was enjoyable. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was fantastic. And then on the TV side, I'm sure I liked something from the TV. Loki was good. Loki was enjoyable. I know some people like WandaVision. I wasn't a fan of WandaVision. But, I mean, you take a look, in 6 years, you're looking at maybe 5-6 projects total. That's rough. That's rough. For a studio that was popping out, how many per year? 5-6 projects per year at one point? That's rough. That is rough. Trayvon says, I thought Brave New World had to make at least $700 million to break even. Well, see, Marvel states that they only spent $180 million to make this movie. Let's be realistic, though, with the reshoots, basically rewriting and reshooting the movie almost twice, or shooting the movie nearly twice. It probably is closer to that $700 million, but we're not 100% sure on that. We're not. Trayvon asks, I can assure you, had it not been for Deadpool and Wolverine, MCU stands wouldn't be out there shielding Kevin Feige. Probably right. Acres of movies. Who would you cast as the Marvel character Puck? I mean, I don't typically sit here and do the casting of things here. Acres of movies. Who would you cast as Shaman? Why hasn't Shaman been depicted well ever yet? Well, Peter Dinklage was already cast. Critic Chris. Critic Chris says Peter Dinklage. He was already the uh, the guy in yeah, he Thor's axe thing. I can't think right now, guys. Sorry. Anyways, let's move on to the next story. There's a lot to talk about. We're already 15 minutes into the show, so let's do this. And I really wanted to talk about this one. Probably not going to get to spend as much time as I wanted to, but anyway, Amazon. Amazon has taken control of James Bond away from the Broccoli family as Jeff Bezos asked Instagram who the next 007 should be. Now, I'm not going to get into this. This is coming from that Park Place, but it's all over the internet. The other day, it was everywhere that Amazon now has development control over James Bond 007. Now, I'm a huge James Bond fan, have been since I was a little kid. I'm saying like 7, 8, 9 years old. I would watch on AMC in the summertime. They would run marathons, maybe TNT, whatever channel it was. When they would run marathons, I would watch them. And then the marathons would be over. I'd beg my mom, take me to the video store so I can rent James Bond movies on VHS, and I would watch them again. I loved James Bond. And then, obviously, I had a Nintendo 64. GoldenEye, come on. So, huge James Bond fan. Now, I'm a little concerned about this. Not going to lie. Well, I need to take a drink here. I'm sorry. All right. A little concerned here. The reason why I'm concerned is because, well, the Broccoli's had a vision for James Bond. They protected the IP. They didn't want it to go crazy in a certain way. They didn't want to have spin-offs. They didn't want to do all these crazy things. For instance, take a look at what's happened to what's a good example here? Star Wars, for example. Look, at one time you sit back and you say, man, imagine Star Wars having TV shows, and all these spinoffs. Amazing, fantastic, would be awesome. But then you sit back and you start seeing TV show, mediocre. And I think the Broccoli's understood, like, you don't want to do mediocrity. And that's not to say that every James Bond movie has been fantastic, because they haven't. I mean, look at Quantum of Solace. That might be one of their biggest letdowns yet. But in a sense, they understood, like, let's focus on the character James Bond 007. And when they quote unquote rebooted it with Daniel Craig back in the late 2000s, and they really pushed just having a singular story with him for once, it was like a revitalization of the character, of the franchise, and it did an amazing job. Now, granted, they made it more like Bourne Identity-esque with the more action set pieces and stuff like that. That was fine. I enjoyed that because it kind of took it away from the older style, but it was still gritty. It was still Bond. It still felt Bond. It still was good. So when the Daniel Craig era ended and they were sitting there taking their time, which it was in their right to take their time to really discover and figure out what they wanted to do next, I was like, okay, that's fine. You know, I've always been a fan of the idea, for instance, like, I think they should do almost like just for an instance, like, get a Christopher Nolan and say, Nolan, what would you want to do with Bond? Okay. Denis Villeneuve, what do you want to do with a James Bond? Okay. And like, go to different directors, go to filmmakers and start asking them, what would you do with a Bond if you had a Bond? If you had a chance to do one James Bond movie, what would you do? And go to these like really artistic and really top-notch filmmakers and maybe just give them a Bond movie and just let them go with it. Because I think that would be really cool, because you're still taking care and really allowing them to explore. Then you could do things like the old man Bond that we've never seen. Like, we've never seen like an old man Bond where he comes out of retirement just for one more mission, or a more younger Bond. Now, I know the younger Bond would be more like where he's just out of the Queen's Navy, but you know, different things like that. Like, you could explore different avenues with different actors, because that's one thing that people always want is, like, Daniel Craig was really good as Bond, but he was stuck in that role for how many years, and so many actors who could have been Bond during that time never got to play Bond because it was Daniel Craig for that time. And actors aged out because it was Craig for so long. It's like actors like Idris Elba, who I think would be a fantastic Bond. I think he's aged out at this point. Actor like Henry Cavill, who I think would be a fantastic Bond, I think is aged out if they want to start a fresh new franchise. So for me, I think that would be a really cool idea and aspect to go with. But again, getting back to where I'm going, why I'm worried about Amazon doing this is because I think they're going to not take care and they're not going to really focus on James Bond. Do we know anything? No. They could do something amazing. Like, I mean, let's face this. If they get the right people to run everything, run the show, or the movies, the producers, everything like that, it could be perfect. But I feel like because Amazon, they're money hungry, they're going to be like, all right, we got to do a show about Moneypenny. We got to do a show about M. We got to do a show about 006. We got to do a show about 007. We got to do, 007 when he's in the Navy. We got to do this. It's just going to get out of hand. That's all I say. I hope they don't. I hope they do something really, really well. Like I said, I'm a huge Bond fan, and I just hope they do it well. But in a sense, I sit here and I think, man, Amazon has it. And I made a joke on X. I said, oh, here we go. Dylan Mulvaney as James Bond now. But, I would say this isn't a great development, but maybe they can prove me wrong. I hope they prove me wrong. That's all I had to say. I hope they prove me wrong. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. All right, what do you guys have? Hope for Life says Henry Cavill is blonde. I would totally go see it after seeing him. And I think the last I saw was the Kingsman Secret Circle. Kingman or Cavill is blonde? He's not blonde. Did I miss something? Chris Slav, I don't think it would matter that Chris Evans came back as Johnny Storm and RDJ going to be Dr. Doom. Just saying. What does that have to do with James Bond? What did I miss? Hope for Life. I wonder if Harrison Ford would be willing to become the next James Bond. Here's the thing. When it comes to Bond, where like Superman is, they cast an Englishman as Superman, or they cast an Englishman as Spider-Man and stuff like that. I don't think they'll ever cast an American as James Bond. I just don't see it ever happening. Matthew got it. At least it might mean no more Purvis and Wade, but it is death of EON 007. I don't know what EON. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm not thinking straight. You said I read that already. Trayvon says MGM means great movies. Well, Trayvon, let's see what the roar is about with 007. Acres of movies. Before you were enjoying Marvel and huge budget comic movies, which kind of movies do you enjoy? Also, if you don't enjoy these Marvel and big budget comic movies, shouldn't you watch some other movies? I watch a bunch of movies, guys. Acres. I mean, I try to. Growing up, like I said, Bond was a big thing for me. I love the action and thriller, spy thriller movies. I love those things. I was a huge fan of movies like Lethal Weapon and Die Hard growing up too. Those were really big for me. But then I was also a fan of comedies. I mean, I liked comedies. I was never a big horror fan. The one horror series that I was really into as a kid was Halloween. I love the Michael Myers films for some odd reason. I think a lot of kids get into that. Like my stepson, he's really big into was really big into Michael Myers for some reason. I don't know why little kids get into that. But Star Wars, I mean, that was my jam back when I was a little kid. I mean, it was really, really Star Wars for me. So yeah, I mean that's and then obviously superheroes. Who doesn't like superheroes? Everybody likes superheroes. Matthew got it says, for me, 007, it died with Brosnan. Well, that's sad. Never Say Never Again did that. Matthew says, Man from U.N.C.L.E. was good, but it flopped. Yeah, it was good, and I'm mad that it flopped. Trayvon says, hey, take solace, Slav. If things don't work out with 007 on Amazon, there's always Austin Powers. Yes, Austin Powers. They should do a crossover. It was a typo. It should have been Bond. Oh, okay. All right. Moving on to the next story. I mean, kind of Bond related, I guess. Let's see. Daniel Craig has apparently dropped out of starring in Luca Guadagnino's Sergeant Rock. I can't say the guy's name. For DC, Jeremy Allen White is now one of the names making the rounds to potentially star. Now, what's interesting about this, because if you remember months ago or weeks ago, whatever it was, Daniel Craig was rumored to be attached to this movie. Now, this Luca Guadagnino, I can't say his name, whatever. He and Daniel Craig had a movie that just came out recently that kind of flopped. And Daniel Craig is upset about that. And apparently, because his movie flopped, he decided to walk away from this project. However, in the little private press thing that they did the other day, James Gunn and Peter Safran basically said that Daniel Craig was never attached to this, that it's weird how things happen sometimes where names just get attached to things and they aren't really attached, that it's because of his attachment to Luca that things probably happen that way. So that's kind of what's going on here, it seems. Look, I'm still kind of curious about this project. I'm not 100% sure if Sergeant Rock is the best idea to move. I don't mind them going different directions and different things with DC films. I'm all for it. This one is just kind of a little weird for me, but look, if it's good, if it's awesome, I'm all for it. I like Jeremy Allen White. I mean, he's been fantastic in everything I've watched him in, from Shameless to The Bear to what was that really horrible comedy that he was in, that he had like a doll for a girlfriend or something like that. Really terrible movie, but he was funny in it. But yeah, he's a really, really fantastic actor. But I think he lines up more with who I'd see as a Sergeant Rock than Daniel Craig for sure. So I'm interested in this for sure. We'll see how it all plays out, and we'll go from there, I guess. Yeah. All right, just going to keep moving forward, guys. Next thing, Lobo. Now, Lobo, played by Jason Momoa, is going to be appearing in Supergirl, which is currently filming in London. James Gunn addressed when fans will see the first look at Momoa's Lobo in Supergirl. He says it's probably going to be a while. We're not going to have to go shoot outside, so we don't have to release a picture earlier than we'd want to. This is exciting. This is really cool. Why is this really cool? Because it leaves the excitement and the anticipation up. I love this. I love the fact that they don't have to shoot outside, which means we're not going to see leaked photos of things. I love that. That is what I love. But this is what you then see. And I didn't look. I picked this, had no idea until right now. I literally just saw this here. Translation: it's another crap suit and we don't want blowback. Really? Really? When I see stuff like this is all I think of. They just can't help themselves. All they do is whine and cry. It is absurd. Look, this is perfectly fine. This is how 99% of all movies do things. They don't show stuff if they don't have to. Why is it any different here? Like, go look at Marvel movies. When Marvel movies are being made, if they're not outside, they're not revealing stuff until they absolutely have to. Like, what? Anyways, I love this because if you don't have to reveal anything, don't. My hope, and I've been saying this for weeks, if not months, that I don't want to see the Supergirl costume, because now that we know that she's going to be in the Superman movie, I don't want to see her costume. I don't want to see her in the suit until Superman. Like, let the reveal of Supergirl and what she looks like happen in that movie. Do not show us one snippet of Supergirl, of her in a suit, of anything, until that movie. Because why give it away now? If she's going to be popping up there, and that's just in like 4.5 months, 5 months, why not just wait till then? What's it going to hurt? It's not going to hurt anything. As for Lobo, what's the point in showing anything now? First off, he's not going to be a main character in it. So why show anything early? Why does it matter? Wait until a teaser, wait until a trailer to show that off. You're going to see Supergirl and Superman, so then we'll know what she looks like. So then you wait until a trailer to show off the main man. Make that be the big pop for the teaser, for the trailer. But you have people like this who just don't understand how marketing works, and they just want to sit there and bitch and complain because you're not going the way that I want it to go. They're just ridiculous. It's getting out of hand. I'm sorry. This did not mean to be a negative talk here. I was sitting here all intentions of just being excited. Like, this is perfect. This is exactly how marketing and how filmmaking should be, because it's an exciting thing and we should have anticipation. Sure, I want to see something. I absolutely want to see things, but I'm all for letting the anticipation build. That way, when we finally see it, it's like, holy crap, this is awesome. That's all. But let me know your thoughts about this in the comments. I definitely want to know what you guys think in the comments below. Critic A. Hey, Slav, how are you doing today? How's it going, Critic A? Iron Templar, Lobo, the Intergalactic Hobo. He's not a hobo. He's the main man. Matthew got at, would Cavill have the charisma and the kind of presence Connery had? It's important. I mean, if you go watch The Man from U.N.C.L.E., he definitely has the ability to play that. Watch the Mission Impossible movie. Which one was it? Fallout. Mission Impossible Fallout. Definitely is able to. Like, he really puts off the ability to play a spy really well. Let's see. Trayvon says, no joke. Snyder cultists took that as a shot towards Snyder. It's like a super wise said, what is with people refusing to accept that James and Zach are friends? Matthew, Man of Steel was in 2013, people. Are they still hoping for Cavill Super? Where are we going with this? We weren't talking about anything. What's going on? All right. Moving on. Next up, James Gunn celebrates the 85th anniversary of Lex Luthor by sharing a brand new behind-the-scenes look at Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. This is a great photo. I really like this photo. I think it looks great. He looks fantastic. I love the aesthetic, the feel. I like how menacing he looks here. I love the business attire, the business suit, the vest. Everything about this looks really, really cool. I really like it. I do. I think it's great. But again, what do we see? What did we see from this? People just... You just had people crying and whining. Oh, he's trying to be like Zack Snyder sharing a black and white photo. Zack Snyder didn't invent black and white photos. Zack Snyder didn't invent posting black and white photos. This was just a cool shot, and I'm sure he thought, hey, this looks really neat in black and white. Like, come on, people. Celebrating 85th anniversary. I'm sorry. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about the photo in the comments. All right. This one. This one is a little ridiculous. So the Direct posted the other day that 2025 Superman movie's latest humor update may worry fans. Many don't know what to expect from James Gunn's upcoming Superman film in the DCU, specifically regarding the amount of humor in it and the overall tone. Those hoping that it wouldn't include a lot of humor may be a little disappointed. Superman is set to be one of the biggest comic book movie releases of the past decade, as it will kick off the live-action side of James Gunn and Peter Safran's new DCU. Superman will have a lot of humor. That's what they say. Many Superman fans have worried about how much humor James Gunn will incorporate into his upcoming Superman movie starring David Corenswet. Gunn's signature filmmaking style includes a lot of humor to break the tension brought on by extremely heavy moments, but many don't want that type of tone for Superman. In a recent episode of The Town, insider Matthew Belloni gave fans a bit of update regarding the amount of humor that will be in Superman. Of course, nothing can be certain until the film is released, but the industry insider revealed that Superman will have a lot of humor. He says, I have been told by people at Warner's that there's a lot of humor in Superman. That's it. Okay. First off, how? First, we know James Gunn puts humor in his films. That's not a surprise. That's not anything new. That's what he does. He has always done that. Okay? He has. He's done that for quite some time. But why, why is this a big deal? First off, James Gunn stated, let me see if I have it here. In 2023, he did an interview. I can't find it exactly. I have it pulled out here. In an interview with the Hollywood Reporter, he was asked about Superman. At the time, it was still called Superman Legacy. He goes, "How can I make it different from the Superman movies that have been made so far, but also have it respect all the Superman movies make it Superman movies that have been made so far?" He asked, "So it just took me some time to try to figure it out. The movie won't be a comedy," he says, "and it's not like he's going to make Superman one of the quirky characters he is famous for. Gunn is intent on making a sincere superhero movie." Well, there you have it. He's not making a comedy. But let's not forget, here, I'll do it right here for you guys. Comic definition. The definition of comic, right here, adjective, causing or meant to cause laughter. Right there. Comic book character. Comic, causing or meant to cause laughter. Causing or meant to cause laughter. That is what comic is. A comic book, also known as a funny book, is supposed to have humor in it. It is okay for there to be humor in a comic book movie. Shocking. I know. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Donovan on X, he goes, "This person just has it out for Gunn at this point." This Sean O'Rourke guy on YouTube. Here comes the jokey jokes, he says, talking about this. You have people freaking out about this article from the Direct because they say there's going to be humor in it. You have other people sitting there saying, "I could have told you this was going to happen. I told you exactly, this is exactly what was going to happen." First off, we know what type of movies that James Gunn makes. He makes comedy films. He makes family comedy films. But then he sat there and said, in 2023, "I'm not making a comedy." Yes, he likes comedic elements in it. But take a look at something like Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I would sit there and say that, yes, there are comedic elements in that movie, but I wouldn't say that's a straight up comedy. Like, that has some deep rooted dramatic moments in it. It has action in it. It has comedy in it. I would look at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 as more of the template for Superman than anything else that James Gunn has ever done. And I would even say that it's probably going to be even more serious in tone than even that was, from the sound of it. But again, people just want to hear, "Oh, look, humor bad, humor bad." And it's ridiculous. Like, they've lost their way. They believe that the only way that a DC movie can be made is like Batman vs Superman or Man of Steel. Excuse me, or Man of Steel. Like, Man of Steel isn't the only way, or Batman vs Superman isn't the only way that you can make a DC movie. Like, it's not. Even take a look at the Nolan films. The Nolan films had a little comedy in them, had a little humor. Not a lot, but there was some humor in it. I even say, when it comes to comic book movies, it should have more humor than those did. It should. That's just my opinion. They're based off of comic books. Comic humor. Should all movies in the franchise be like that? No, I think some movies in the franchise could go and lean a little darker, a little more heavy, but not all of them, and not Superman right now. But people are freaking out about it. It's crazy to me. It is absolutely crazy to me. But let me know your thoughts about this. Obviously, people love to freak out about this kind of stuff. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's see. while you guys are going crazy over here. Trayvon says Superman will hit the sweet middle spot, not as humorous as Guardians of the Galaxy, the Suicide Squad, but definitely more humorous than Superman Returns and especially Man of Steel. I agree. Hope for Life says, oh damn, poor Superman. Lex looks like he's got something big planned for Superman and I don't like it. Trayvon says, for those worried about the humor, check out Superman, the animated series. That show had the balanced tones and humor seriousness. Nailed it. Agree. Critica. Family is a stretch, but I get what you mean. Critic A says Shazam was lighthearted and fun. Aquaman had an octopus playing the drums. That was a little far. Yeah, I didn't like the octopus playing drums, but hey, what can you do? Critic Chris Trayvon, you're talking to Trayvon there. I'm like, Hope for Life. Can't believe you have to pull up the definition of comic from Google just to get the message through some heads. If people don't know that they're supposed to be humor, then they're just depressed. Very true. Jalen says, facts, Lab. I hate the humor, mean, bad movie talk with DC. It's out of hand, guys. It's out of hand. Trayvon says, quick off topic, but if Henry Cavill became the new James Bond, please, for the love of God, give him a suit that he can breathe in. Yeah, they always make him so tight and things, don't they? Matthew Goddett, they think it will be Disney Superman that is the worry MCU light. It's not going to be, though. We know that. Critic Chris, gun haters, Batman makes money. Every character needs to be a copy of Batman to be successful. It's true. It's what they say. It is what they say. All right. Last topic of the day. I wanted to get to this one because this was big. So on Friday, we heard about a private press screening that was taking place with a whole bunch of press people. Grace Randolph kind of broke the news that was happening. I did a couple videos talking about it in some ways. I don't know if you guys watched them, but there's this private press screening going on. And then it was like the news will come out the following week. We didn't know what day it was. Well, today was the day. So here it is. DC Studios slate evolution. Some projects put on back burners as others are full steam ahead. This is coming from the Hollywood Reporter. Now, other outlets such as Collider, Deadline, other outlets have their own takes on it. I just pulled up the Hollywood Reporter here. I'm actually not going to go through the Hollywood Reporter's take here. I just wanted to pull this up because honestly, there's so much news out there. I'm probably going to miss something. All right. I mean, there was so much that came out of it. It's crazy because if you saw my article that I posted over the weekend, I think it was Friday evening, actually, Friday afternoon, I posted an article like, what could it be? Like, what could they be talking about? My speculation was an update on the DC slate, on the Chapter 1 slate. And I kind of went a little more in depth thinking that it was going to be like an updated, like actual release and slate with stuff like that. I was a little off, but not too far off on what my speculation was. But what is it? So I'm going to go through here some of the things that are coming up. Now, some of the things not coming up, but what they talked about here. The big one that I really liked is James Gunn hints the DCU Batman may appear in another project before Brave and the Bold. He says, I wouldn't rule anything out. He could show up in something else, but the actor doesn't exist yet. So that is a really, really interesting dynamic or thing there, because Brave and the Bold, they talked about, let me see if I can find this one here, right here. They talked about, according to James Gunn and Peter Safran, Batman Brave and the Bold is currently in development. James is working with the writer, which he or she was not named. And as soon as the script is complete, Andy Muschietti will be the first to look at it. So the script for Brave and the Bold is not ready. He's working with a writer to get everything worked out. The director could be Andy Muschietti. It could not be. I'm now starting to slowly become a believer that Andy Muschietti may not be the director of this movie. I'm thinking he may not be. So if that's the case, then it is what it is. I mean, if he's not, then he's not. But he was then asked after this, like, what about Batman? Because, there's a Batman in DC already. Like, what's he doing over there? Like, what's What's that Batman doing? I don't have it. I thought I had it. But they were talking about the Pattinson Batman. And well, Pattinson, they basically said, look, he's not going to be showing up. Let me see if I have it over here. Where's it at? I have so many of these I made. There it is. He goes, James Gunn confirms that Robert Pattinson's Batman will not be part of the DCU. There were no serious conversations about the actor continuing his role into the broader DCU rather than staying in the separate universe of Reeves' world. There you have it. Like, that's it. That's final, guys. Like, it's over. There's no more like, hey, Pattinson's coming over to the DCU. No, that's it. Because not only that, but he has stated that an actor could, or not an actor, Batman could show up in another project, but the actor doesn't exist yet. So because of that, right there, because of that, then we can ascertain that Pattinson is just not it. We're getting a new actor. We're getting somebody new. But here's the question. Where does this mean Batman could show up? I mean, where can he show up? I mean, we got Clayface coming out. That's going to start filming towards the end of the year. That would make sense. And I could see that a possibility, a real possibility for him to have a small little cameo or role in that movie. I could see that happening. But what I could also see is that James Gunn confirmed that he is pre-writing the next project that he will be directing. What could it be? We've talked about this. I truly, truly believe that it could be World's Finest. That's right. World's Finest. I think it could be it. Now, this is not confirmation. This is all speculation. But could it be that the next thing that he is working on could be something with Batman? Maybe. I don't know. Look, with them confirming that the Authority's on the back burner, Waller's on the back burner, Booster Gold's on the back burner, because that's all stuff that came out this news cycle today as well. With all of that being on the back burner, it makes sense that he's like, I'm going to focus on this. We need to get Batman out here and really get this push going. Like it makes sense, right? So why does it make sense to get a Batman in there quickly? Well, Peter Safran and James Gunn confirmed they have a 6-year plan that will culminate in an Avengers Endgame-like style event. Well, that's exciting, right? Well, you would think it's exciting. I think it's exciting. I know we all think it's exciting. This is awesome. They have a plan. They have an idea how to get from Superman to an Endgame level event. That's great. But obviously they're going to need to have a Batman. They're probably going to have, a Supergirl. They're going to have in there lanterns. They're going to have all these different characters in there. Will they have to have a Wonder Woman? Will they need a Flash? What characters are they going to have in there? We don't know yet. We don't know all these characters that are going to be put in there. But who knows? James Gunn, Peter Safran, they know what pieces they need to get in there. And there's also other little projects that they're going to make throughout. However, our good friend here, who says that I always go at him and find his post and talk about him, but I didn't this time. I haven't touched a post of his in probably 3 or 4 days. He comes and finds my post and goes, "Not with that slate. There's clearly no plan." First off, they talked about it in this whole thing, how they are not just rushing. They've talked about this many times. James Gunn has mentioned this many times. They're not just rushing. They're not just pushing any script out. Like if we get a script, just make it. Script here, just make it. They want to make the script when it is done, when it's perfect. When they think it is perfect, they will put it out and put it into production. They're not just going to put a script out to put a script out. That is what I want to see. That is what all fans should want to see. Now, sitting there saying, not with that slate, there's clearly no plan. No, there is not clearly no plan. They have a plan. They're making a plan. They have a plan. We just may not see it. Just because we don't see it doesn't mean there is no plan. I'd rather us not see the plan and know the plan and know what kind of rigorous circumstances they have to go through to get these scripts approved to be made. I'd rather know that information than to sit there and know, hey, this is our outlook for six years. Here's the 12 movies we're going to make. And they just start throwing out scripts left and right just so they can get it out and appease the fans. I'd rather not know those 12 movies and not be excited about them, because I now know that it's a hell of a lot harder for those writers and filmmakers to get the right script in there and to get it made. I rather that. Quality over quantity. Get that quality assurance in there. That's what I want to see. You take a look at what's going on across the street. You see what just happened with Captain America: Brave New World. How they pushed that movie out, and then they had to rewrite it. They had to reshoot it 2 times because it just wasn't good enough. You see what happened to She-Hulk. You see what happened to the Marvels. You see what happened with all of these other things over at Marvel, because they just didn't take the time to sit back and say, you know what? Let's make sure this script is good. Let's make sure that it's going to hit the audience it needs to hit. They didn't do that. DC Studios is doing that. And that is a good thing. So sitting here trying to sit there and say that there's clearly no plan, not with that slate, you're just being an idiot and you're making a fool of yourself. And I'm here for it. I'm here to watch you make a fool of yourself. That's all I have to say about that. What else was there? Then we have Teen Titans. Peter Safran, I think this is hilarious. Peter Safran accidentally confirmed that Anna Nagwaria is in fact writing a Teen Titans project for DC Studios. Gunn, after a humorous back and forth with him and Safran, stated that the script is not finished, but it is something that Anna was really impassioned about. I love that. I don't know if you read the little back and forth that they had on the Hollywood Reporter, I think it was. But there's a back and forth that Peter Safran was like, yeah, she's been working on this. And Gunn's like, I don't think that was revealed yet. And he was like, yeah, sure it was. And Gunn's like, no, I don't think it was. So it was like a strange little back and forth. But yeah, I mean, we've kind of already known that Anna Nagwaria was doing it. It was rumored. I think it was like Deadline or THR that revealed it months and months ago. But James Gunn never officially announced it. Peter Safran never officially announced it. But now we have word from them officially that she is writing it. But it's not finished yet. She's still writing it. But you think about that. Sit back for a second, because I think official word about that came out last March. We're talking about it almost a year ago. I really want to say it was March of last year. Maybe a little later. March, maybe April of last year. That Anna Nagwaria was working on a Teen Titans movie script. We're almost a year now since then, and she's not finished with the script. The script is not good enough yet. So I go back to that quality assurance, that making sure the script is good. Now, I'm guessing that maybe she got held up a little bit because I'm sure she's helping a little bit with Supergirl, making sure things are right there, because I believe that she has been in London helping with that. But still, come on. Like, that's huge. Like, we're getting a Teen Titans film, guys. Or project, maybe a TV show. Who knows? Who knows what it is? This. I do want to talk about this, because this is great too. Maybe not that one. Where do I have it? Oh, Dynamic Duo. We'll talk about this. James Gunn also says that he's not ready to confirm whether or not Dynamic Duo is set in the DCU. Gunn says he'd like Dynamic Duo to be set in the DCU, but with the nature of its tale, it might not be possible. That could change. Interesting. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, so this here, this is about the picture with him and Zack Snyder the other day. So Gunn says still does occasionally post his Blue Sky Instagram and Twitter accounts, most recently a photo with him and Zack Snyder. The filmmaker, whose past tenure at the helm of DC live action films generated a fiercely passionate online fan base, went instantly viral. Asked if the photo meant that they've discussed a possible creative collaboration, Gunn said that he and Snyder, who've known each other or known each since Snyder directed Gunn's script for 2004's Dawn of the Dead, sometimes talk about different things. But they took the picture specifically because they knew it would melt the internet. He says, "We knew that people have this view that somehow we have been pitted against each other," Gunn said. "It's odd to have someone who you're friendly with in real life be the guy that is positioned as your Lex Luthor, or I'm his Lex Luthor. It's just such a weird dynamic that's been created between factions online." All right. I love this. I love this here. Real Anarchy stopped by. How's it going? How's it going, Real Anarchy? I love this here because this proves a couple things. One, put to bed the fact that they are friends. Number one, they are friends, which is fantastic. We've known this, but a lot of people don't. Number two, he says, we knew that people have this view. It's odd, blah, 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 all this stuff. But I love how they said they knew it would melt the internet. So they did it on purpose. And Zack Snyder is one of those type of people that is like, yeah, let's melt the internet. Like he's that kind of person. He's like, yeah, let's do it. It'll be fun. Let's melt the internet. And he would totally be for melting the internet. So they did it. They melted the internet. Boom, done. All right. So they both know, like, there's just these factions are against each other. Let's try and bring them together. Okay, let's do it. You then have these people who are like, it's a publicity stunt, or they're doing this because they just want good PR. They're doing this because, what was another one that I saw? I can't remember what another one, but they're just doing this. First off, James, if it was a publicity stunt, James Gunn told you it is. James Gunn just basically came and said, like, hey, we just did this because we wanted to. We thought it'd be funny and we wanted to melt the internet and melt your faces off. There you go. So if that's what you're questioning, yeah, it worked. And he's doing it. There you go. But the odd thing about this is the question that was asked was, was the photo meant that they've discussed a possible creative collaboration? Gunn said that he and Snyder, who've known each other since Snyder directed the Dawn of the Dead, sometimes talk about different things. That's it. But they took the picture specifically. He doesn't say anything else about why they met. Okay. There was never, why is Zach even there? Like, he has projects set up with UFC and Netflix right now. There's nothing going on that we're aware of at the Warner Brothers lot. There's that discussion about the 300 prequel series that was in development, and it's way like down the line. Like that's still a ways away. Why was he on the Warner Brothers lot with James Gunn? Like, sure, he could have been taking a meeting for something else at Warner Brothers, possibly. Could be. Why was he there? All I'm saying, I'm not saying it's Snyderverse related. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying. There has to be a reason why he was there. I'm still thinking maybe he was just getting a screening of Superman. Maybe he was just there to, pick his brain a little bit about some things. James Gunn, that is, of Zack Snyder. Who knows? It doesn't matter. They're filmmakers, they're friends. They could do that kind of stuff. But I don't know. They didn't really get into why he was there. He was very passive in answering that question, if you ask me. So I thought it was interesting, for sure. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that in the comments, because I think it's really interesting that more people aren't talking about that aspect. All they're doing is whining and crying because James Gunn put that up because it's a PR man, I'm I'm sorry. I can't get enough of that. All right. But yeah, I think that's all she wrote. I think I went through most of it. I'm gonna start playing the outro music, guys. But I'm gonna start seeing what you guys said in the chat here before I get out of here. So what do you guys got in here? Real Ariki says, what's interesting is that they're both on the same numbers of shows and movies at year, Marvel and DC. Are they? That's crazy. I didn't even think about that. Jalen says, although I do hope we get more Wonder Woman news soon. I hope so too. That'd be nice to see. Oh yeah, there's those animated shows. There's the Green Lantern about Jessica Cruz, My Adventures of Green Lantern or something. And then there's the Starfire show I forgot to mention. And then there's that Power Up or something like that. Yeah, there's some crazy things. Actually, here, we've got this right here. Pull this up real quick. Yeah, like this is a really cool thing. I don't know who made this, but this is really cool. Superman, Creature Commanders, Peacemaker, Supergirl, Lanterns, Clayface, Brave and the Bold, Teen Titans, Sergeant Rock. This is crazy. Look at all this. Now, Authority, Booster Gold, Waller, that's all kind of gone right now. On the back burner. I won't say gone, but it's on the back burner right now. That's cool. That's a really cool thing. Yeah. Man. See, look, real, like, everybody loves you. Look at that. Matthew says, I saw all my myths and rumors about Snyderverse coming back and I laughed, all based on a picture, down to series reaching, saying test screenings for Superman must be going bad. Oh, man. Isn't it funny how all those rumors about the test screening just died over the weekend after that picture came? I think that's kind of funny. Douglas Fryer, if Snyder did do a DC film, I think it'd be best he did a DC character that wasn't a well-known. Yeah, I could see him doing something like that. Critic Chris, haters' excuses get worse all the time. The Watcher, Zach could do animated project also, maybe Wonder Woman? Maybe. The Watcher, I'm not going to put Zach in a box. He can do a different tone. Jalen, later guys, got a party to go to right now. See you guys. See you, Jalen, if you're still here. Bye. Hope for life. Have a good night. All right. Kavari, now am seriously concerned who the F are these animated shows for and where the F is Wonder Woman. The animated shows are probably going to be for kids. Let's not forget, like, not all of these things here. Let me pull this up real quick before I get out of here. They weren't specific about Starfire here and this Green Lantern, My Adventures with Green Lantern. I think there was another show that's not on here that they announced, some like Power Up show or something like that. From what I read, it wasn't specific about being in the DCU or not. And the way I look at it is, look at Disney Plus right now. They have a Spider-Man show, and I think they have like another like Avengers show on there. They have a little toddler Spider-Man show. I think it's like the Spidey and his amazing friends, and it's for little kids. Like my daughters watch it; they love it, and it's like really kiddish animation. And it's not connected to the MCU, but it's all about grabbing the attention of younger kids. So as they grow up, they know who these characters are. So once they get older, they can slide right into this bigger universe and know that's Spider-Man, that's Captain America, that's Hulk, that's who this is. So they can slide into these things. Again, I don't know if this Green Lantern or Starfire are part of that, the DCU or not. I'm just kind of thinking that's what it's for. That's all. I kind of hope it is, because I think that they should, because I think as a studio, as DC Studios as they are, they should be focusing on not just DCU. Like, let me take that back. I think they need to focus heavily on DCU. That needs to be their main focus, but they need to focus on all aspects, I should say, of the spectrum of audience. That's what I need. That's what I'm trying to say. Matthew got it. Says, is there even a script for Matt Reeves' Batman 2? Well, they said they haven't seen the script yet. Iron Templar. I want James Gunn to make a Batman movie with the flamboyance and aesthetics of Batman Forever combined with a series 10 of Nolan trilogy and fight choreography of Raimi's Spider-Man 2. It'd be crazy. Watcher says not all anime shows will be for kids. I can see Starfire being DCU canon. She was in Creature Commandos. True. Sam Dan reviews. Slav, you should watch movies. TV Mad. He said they are canceling Brave and the Bold and Batman will be in other movies. I don't think they'll cancel Brave and the Bold. I think they're just taking their time. Just quality assurance, making sure the script's perfect. The Watcher, superpowers in my adventures with Geo, I believe, is more for kids a little bit. You're probably right about that. Hope for Life, maybe they want Zach to direct DC like Brave and the Bold or The Authority. Maybe. Hope for Life, have a good night. See you Thursday for Watchtower. Yes, see you Thursday for Watchtower. Watcher, I'd be shocked if Starfire was not DCU canon. Again, I don't know. Like, I'm just kind of guessing here. But whoever said that superpowers in my adventures will be more for kids, you're probably right on the money with that, just because of the titles and such. But yeah. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here now. I am. Make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe. Thank you for watching. This was a full show, very full show. So there's a lot to talk about. I will clip this out this week as well. And make sure you check back for more videos this week for me. There's going to be a whole bunch I'm going to cover this week for sure, as well as Watchtower on Thursday. So make sure you come back on Thursday night for the Watchtower, where we just talk DC, all DC, even though we kind of did mostly DC today, but more DC. So make sure you go there and make sure you hit the link in the description to join the Discord so we can do that. So take it easy, everyone. Love seeing you all here. Thank you all for joining. And with that all said, have a good night. I'll catch you all later.